are shattered by the sun. I walk the road, horizons change, the tournament's begun. The purple piper plays his tune, the choir softly sing. 3 lullabies in an ancient tongue for the court of the crimson. Of the city keys put shutters on the dreams.
We are now under their control.
Outside the pilgrim's door with insufficiency.
Are we going to resist?
The Black Queen chants the funeral march.
Are we going to let them feed on us? Are we going to let them have a bloody harvest?
By a witch to the court of the crimson.
Or will we stand up and defeat them? It is the light that they cannot stand. It is courage that defeats them. It is the spirit of courage, the spirit of goodness, for those of us that love innocence and beauty, and our willingness to stand up against a new world order. Now, we just went live at prisonplanet.tv, and Naomi Wolf has so many phone line problems, I just canceled her again, and we're done with her for now. But we just went live at prisonplanet.tv, and we just had a caller earlier, but we had to go to break. He's a pastor in Ohio. He said, I just got a letter from the feds saying Romans 13, tell my home church of 50 people to go along basically with the things that are happening. Romans 13. And he's a new listener. He said he didn't know about the clergy response teams. So will you guys Google clergy response teams on YouTube? I want to play this for the pastor because he said he didn't know about it. In 2006, we got secret documents. Pastor Butch Paw did. I then talked to the 2 preachers, got the documents, published them at Infowars.com. One of the pastors, they figured out, he went to a local store, faxed the documents. I said, should I erase these fax numbers? He said, oh, no, it's just a store 20 miles from where I live. They'll never figure that out. And I said, okay, we won't take the fax number off. Within 24 hours of us posting it, FBI went in there with Homeland Security, federal marshals, threatened the place, looked at their surveillance cameras, looked at highway surveillance cameras, figured out who the pastor was, came to his office. We're waiting for him in his office, threatening him when he got there. He also worked at the hospital as their chaplain, had his own office for free. They said, get out of here. You don't work here anymore. Now, he had a pretty good-sized church. People still didn't believe it. People still didn't believe it. Then it came out on mainstream news. They have doubled it to 26,000 pastors. They've built the FEMA camps. Notice the bill they introduced for FEMA camps, for the already built ones, said, oh, we're going to pay to have medical centers and local pastors to help in the community. They're going to call them horrible work camps. It's a loving government camp. And how does it start? How did I predict a year ago it would start? As people become homeless, they force you out of the tent cities on national parks, state parks, and other places into the facilities where you're prisoners, where you're frisked and controlled. That's now happening in California, Hawaii, and other areas. So this is actually going on right now. I want folks to understand that. Let's go ahead and cut over here. Let's go ahead and go to that YouTube clip. Here it is.
Will law ever become a reality in America? Some fear any nuclear, biological, or chemical attack on U.S. territory might trigger just that. And as KSLA News 12's Jeff Farrell discovered, the clergy would help the government with potentially their biggest problem, us.
From my cold, dead hands.
Charlton Heston's famous declaration captures a truly American value, the overarching desire to protect our freedoms. But gun confiscation is exactly what happened during the state of emergency following Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. U.S. troops also arrived, something far easier to do even now thanks to last year's elimination of the 1878 Posse Comitatus Act. That forbid U.S. troops from policing on American soil. If martial law were enacted here at home, like depicted in the movie The Siege, easing public fears and quelling dissent would be critical. And that's exactly what the Clergy Response Team, as it's called, helped accomplish in New Orleans.
Jeff, the primary thing that we say to anybody is let's cooperate and get this thing over with, and then we'll settle the differences once the crisis is over.
Such clergy response teams would walk a tightrope between the needs of the government versus the wishes of the public.
In a lot of cases, these clergy would already be known in the neighborhoods in which they're helping to defuse that situation.
For the clergy, one of the biggest tools that they will have in helping calm the public down or obey the law is the Bible itself, specifically Romans 13.
Because the government is established by the Lord, you know, and that's what we believe in the Christian faith. That's what's stated in the Scripture.
Civil rights advocates believe the amount of public cooperation may depend largely on how long they expect a suspension of their rights might last. Jeff Farrell, KSLA News 12 reporting.
Oh, let's play that end part about martial law. I want to finish up. We cut the tape off about 10 seconds early. Go ahead and back it up. Go ahead and
According to Tuberville, during Hurricane Katrina, the clergy response team provided 38 chaplains a day around the clock at 8 different camps.
Now, remember, camps. This was secret until 2007. We told you a year and a half before with the documents. It's like we broke the MIAC and everything else. Because folks that are involved in all this know where to send their documents. Just send it to the address that's on Infowars.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's going on. So now they've gotten even down and found out who the small churches are, and they're sending them letters. Pastor, I would like you to fax us. I know we just moved offices a few months ago, and I still forget our new fax number. Will you get the guys to give me the toll-free fax number? You can scrub your name out, any numbers on there, or put tape over them, or make a copy of the document and then black that out. I don't want you to black out your original. I want you to fax that to me. And I want other pastors to do this because, again, secret police training pastors to tell their flocks to go to FEMA camps, take injections, turn their guns in. That's in the original FEMA documents we posted almost 3 years ago. This is very creepy. Then you know that Romans 13 didn't really say that. The whole chapter doesn't say that. If you are a Christian and follow that faith, almost all of the prophets in the Old and New Testament were killed or tortured or imprisoned. Christ wouldn't follow the government's orders. It's all taken out of context. But Pastor, for those that just tuned in, we're also live at prisonplanet.tv. Recap the letter you got. Go over it for folks.
Okay. I've been looking for it. My wife and I, we've been tearing our files apart because I left it in the envelope. And when you send back your response, you are to put it in your church letterhead, what your response is to that, and you send it back, a copy of that letter with your response.
I understand you called in, didn't think you'd get on air, but it's providence that you did, and it's somewhere in your stacks of stuff. Look, I've seen similar letters. We broke the secret document, so I believe you. Paraphrase and from memory what it says, and the point is they're doing a survey, just like Obama with millions door to door. Do you support him or not? Now they're even down to small churches, not just recruiting them, but doing a survey. If you respond back that you do believe in Romans 13, that we should do whatever the government says, they're now going to try to recruit you. That's why you hear CIA ads on radio and TV. They're tripling the size of HUMET domestically, literally taking over everything. But specifically tell folks what's happening. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, you are right, because I received 2 phone calls, and it was just like a survey. And it asked, as far as do you support Obama and do you support his agenda, his and Congress's agenda? Well, I said no, because I didn't vote for him to begin with. And then I hung up. Well, it's like 2 weeks later we got the same thing. And I just hung up. I didn't even answer anything. But then I've gotten 2 letters now so far. And one of the things that it points out, one of the first things that it points out is that if your church being 501c3, in other words, tax exempt, that it states that you're not allowed to make any political statements, things like that from the pulpit and stuff like. In other words, it tells you all the things that you cannot do. Just kind of briefly touches over them. What you cannot do if you're a 501c3.
Now, let me stop right there. Again, and I've seen those letters. They are intimidating people. Congress will make no law. Congress will make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Congress can't have